Kiriko, the poster girl of Overwatch 2, was an amazing agent on release and still holds her own after she was nerfed due to some players complaining about her being too safe as a support. Did those have any merit? Well, seeing as I'm a Kiriko or support main, my answer is no, but that could be my own bias. Regardless, Kiriko does her job fantastically due to having a great ability lineup that I'll cover briefly. Firstly, her primary fire is a wave of healing Ofuda that can track their target or fly in a straight path if not targeting. I and the other Kiriko mains recommend that you switch the primary and secondary fire so that you can attack more effectively and still heal. Kiriko's secondary fire is her kunai. These kunai do low damage to the body at around 40 damage. However, if you're targeting and hitting headshots, which is kind of hard to hit with the small hitbox of her weapons, it will still reward you with 3 times the regular body shot damage, scaling to 120 damage. For highly experienced Kiriko players, they will find that they're getting random headshots from spamming choke points and hard angles for the enemy team, which lead to the deaths of multiple enemies, or it could just help your DPS get an easier pick. This makes Kiriko very deadly as a support, while still being able to heal if you toggle between firing and healing appropriately. The next ability we will be speaking on is Kiriko's Suzu, which arguably is her most famous ability. The protection Suzu gives any allies, including Kiriko herself, the invulnerability effect, which effectively makes them untargetable. It's also a cleanse that does a burst heal and is a really big part of Kiriko's identity and a huge reason for her being as played as she is. Finally, her Swift Step ability, which is probably one of the best movement abilities in the game, allows her to teleport to any targets within her 35-meter max range. It also has a Swift Cleanse, so things that are attached to her will be dropped at her initial teleport location. And also, you can use a brief invulnerability to dodge many attacks in the game, such as Diva's ultimate, etc. So I kind of forgot to mention her ultimate, which is Kitsune Rush, and it's low-key broken. So I'm just gonna do a quick insert here and say that Kitsune Rush is amazing. It increases attack speed, movement speed, and cooldown. So it's also another reason for her being as well played as she is, because her ult can literally change the tide of a game. Now let's dive into why Kiriko is as played as much as she is. Firstly, Kiriko is the third most played support behind Ana and Mercy, and when compared to the two higher than her, she has the highest win rate of the three. Funny enough, Brigitte has the highest win rate of all supports, but she also has the lowest pick rate at 1.32% according to Overbuff. In comparison, Ana has an 8.56% pick rate, Mercy 6.43%, and Kiriko 5.48%. Ranking by KD, Kiriko comes in third again behind Moira and Zenyatta this time with a KDA of 5.34, Moira at 6.27 and Zenyatta at 5.44. Now looking at console, because the previous statistics were PC, Kiriko is actually the lowest pick support at 0.44%, and this is understandable because console players have a harder time aiming, and Kiriko's kit, which largely depends on targeting, would be much harder for them to do. Mercy's at the top of the list because she doesn't really need to focus on anything. Although, the argument about aiming seems kind of weak because Lucio has a pick rate of 4.30 and is the third highest pick support on console. After that is Zenyatta, and a matter of fact, Ana is the second most picked. So it doesn't make sense for console players to hate Kiriko, but that's another thing to discuss. Another thing with Kiriko is that she's a support with insane DPS potential, amazing heals, insane save potential, ridiculous rush them down potential. If you get what I'm saying here, you see that there's a lot of potential. This is because Kiriko's place on a team is highly dependent upon her user. Kiriko is not a beginner agent as much as her kit can allow her to get out of dodge safely. If you're heal bossing as a Kiriko, you're still not outputting her max potential or even anywhere close to it. However, do not sabotage your team by flanking around the map or trying to flank around the map, dying, and then having your team one less support. As Overwatch 2's first agent and poster girl, it makes sense for why she's probably the best support in the new mode that came to Overwatch 2, which is Push. Kiriko's ability to move around a chaotic battlefield, heal significantly one ally or multiple if they're standing stacked, and then switch over to another one through Suzu to save someone's life or her own, move out of range, heal again. It's perfect for a chaotic mode like Push. Push might seem straightforward since you're moving on a designated path and generally have to stick with the payload. When you start playing those higher level games, you realize that your opponents flank you more and they go to off angles that one Cassidy ults you and you don't know where he is and you realize that he's behind your entire team and then you die in this utter chaos when you think about it. But The main reason for Kiriko being played so much is because of her insane survival skills. In fact, players complain so much about not being able to kill a good Kiriko that they forced Blizzard to nerf the agent significantly. Now her Swift Step no longer has as long of an invulnerability window. The same applies to her Suzu, I believe, but this didn't stop players from selecting their new favorite support. Personally, while her survival skills are amazing, I love Kiriko for two reasons: double headshotting widows from across the map, and for he's an action shotgun players. I'm talking about an Echo flying in, bombarding the enemy team. I looked up at her, saw her health flashing, I just clicked the heal button and see my talismans go shing 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 all the way to her as she swoops out of the way, and it just dies with her and heals her. Can you do that with a Moira? Can you do that with a Bap? Could you do that with a Brigitte? The only two healers that can track heals on a player without much care are your Zenyatta's and Mercy's. And Zenyatta's heals are not as much as Kiriko's, and Mercy, as much as she's my second favorite support close to Ana to have on a team, she's a heal bot for the most part. Well, heal bot and damage booster. With Kiriko, I can send out my healing talismans, spam some headshots, TP to someone who's dying, Suzu them, which is a tech that I made as soon as I found her. Not saying that, oh, I am the creator of the TP Suzu, but I did that without looking up anywhere. Now here's a section where my bias comes in. After looking at some of the complaints about Kiriko, I realized that I don't agree with some of them, like people saying her healing is too good, her survival is too good, etc, etc. Notice I emphasize the two. Her healing is great, her survival is great, but I didn't think it was nerf worthy. Honestly, like looking at things like supports in Overwatch, they've been neglected for years, since Overwatch 1. Like, support mains have been complaining for ages and Blizzard has done little to nothing to help them except buff a Mercy pistol, because that helps so much. It's so bad that it became even a meme. And when they finally made a support that could keep herself alive appropriately, the community just couldn't let it stand. But Kiriko mains have done their job and stay alive regardless, so those players that are whining about these things are just going to have to get better, and I believe that's good. Supports already have life hard enough. They're blamed for most things. People say they aren't healing enough when it's the DPSs and tanks not protecting their supports, so the supports die and then the heals look less, although there are supports that don't do their job, like the TikTok Baps and Moiras, which are amazing when they work, but 90% of the ones in my games don't. But I digress. So to recap, Kiriko is an amazing agent in Overwatch 2. She has amazing heals, great survivability, and insane DPS potential if you can spam headshots. She does have a high skill floor because she's supposed to DPS while healing, and you have to time your Suzu appropriately and make proper decisions because her cooldowns are very long, except her sub stuff. She's by no means overpowered, and arguments for her being such are very weak and not thought out based on what I've seen in the Reddit posts. But can you also believe that people once said, and I think some people still say, her healing isn't enough when each of her Fuda heals for like 78? Let me know what you think. Is she or was she busted? Remember, this is all opinion, backed up by research and statistics from various sites, so take it as you will. Until next time.